friends.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back. How was your week? How was your week?
Um, Deer in the headlights every time. Um,
Nice.
Good. Yeah, good.
Good.
I got some things accomplished. One thing's been on my list that's uh I'd hit a dead end on a few weeks ago, so I've been struggling, to get back on that bus and try again, and it went smooth as silk, hopefully. We'll see if I get what I'm supposed to get in the mail.
Probably, yeah.
So
That's good.
that was a good win this week. How about you?
Good. Good so far. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, we beat a puzzle that we've been struggling with for a
Yes, we
couple
did do
weeks.
that. That's 2 wins.
Two
Woohoo!
wins, yeah, and that one was a beast.
Oh
But we did
man.
manage to finish that one, so that was a pretty big win.
And in all that, because it's like sat unattended for what, 2+
2 weeks,
weeks,
yeah.
and all the pieces were there.
Not
So
even true about the ones we do in a couple
I
hours.
know.
Sometimes we lose pieces then, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was a pretty big win. Just working hard at the home, trying to, prepare things for family visiting and just kind of, in a tiny house, you really can't just shove things in cupboards. You actually have to clear out the cupboards and like make space.
Yeah.
So, it's been a lot of that. But yeah. How was your guys' weeks? Say hi in the comments and let us know like how your week was and where you're joining us from.
And if you've had any wins this week.
Let's celebrate those wins together. Even if they're little, like beating a puzzle, it's still a win. It's still a win, guys. Yeah. And if you don't know who we are the Rustic Girls. We are a mother-daughter duo, who are passionate about creating beautiful homes, living intentional lives, and pursuing creative dreams, and encouraging and empowering other women to do it as well. I am Katie, the daughter of the mother-daughter duo.
Ooh, it's been a while since we said this.
I
And
know.
I'm Patty, the mother of the mother-daughter duo.
It's so fun. But yeah, so welcome today. Grab a cup and join us. We thought we'd just chat about maybe some of the places we find inspiration. And we'd love to hear where you draw inspiration from. And I think this is really going to be kind of broad. Like this is about inspiration for creativity, inspiration for like how you live your life. Like what just really inspires you and what resonates with that question. Like what comes to mind when I say what inspires you? I think that's kind of what we're going for here. So do you want to kick it off with what's something that comes to mind when you say what inspires you?
I would say the first thing that comes to mind is others that have been down the path before me. And that's, whatever the topic is, that comes through books, through podcasts, maybe, like this.
YouTube channels.
YouTube. And that translates over into creativity too. Someone who else is doing something, creating something. I draw inspiration from what they're doing or that they've done it. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, I can try that too. So I would say that's definitely the first thing that comes to my mind is from others who've been down the road before me, because I think it doesn't have to be everything, inspiration can be just you can read a whole book and there's just like one sentence that just comes out kabam and speaks to you. So yeah,
I like that. Really good way to like blanket. Now you don't have to answer anymore because you answered everything.
Check, done.
So I think that I will categorize just a little bit. I think that when it comes to creative things, I love to draw inspiration, yes, from other creators, from nature. And I think that, it's all good spots to find inspiration. I mean, on Instagram, that's kind of if I'm going to do social media, that's the one I do. Just because it's a lot of pretty pictures and not much else. So I enjoy the pictures. And it's easy to just back the stuff that, doesn't appeal to you. But going to markets and seeing what people have made, visiting or looking at art, like at a museum, all these different times we can draw inspiration. And I think the key to all of it is drawing inspiration. You know, that it's not like I'm just trying to do
I'm gonna
exactly
copy
what they
you.
did, because then you're not really being creative. It's just accessing a different part of your brain. And I also think that's not very cool. Like go to
No.
a market and steal somebody's idea and
Yeah.
recreate it, and then what? Do another market and compete with them? But take inspiration from it. Like that's a really good idea. How could I make that my own? How could I do that but my way? So when I draw inspiration, it's not plagiarism in any form. It's I like the colors you used, or that's a really fun concept. I've never thought to use, you know, somebody did one, they made vent clips for your car out of, they were local wineries. So it was all local wineries. But they were vent clips made out of a cork with a clip, and then they'd carved a little bit out of the middle, and they had put in a little bit, you know, the tiny sprigs that fall off your floral. Arguably, you can like walk through the floral department and be like, scoop it up. I don't know if that's legal, so. But like just the tiny bits,
Yeah.
and they like hot glued this, or however they did it. Like you didn't really see the glue.
It almost looked like a little window box.
Yeah, so it felt like a little window box that you could add, and then they sold it with a little bottle of essential oil, but you can drip on, and then when your vent's blowing, it blows this really yummy smell.
Really well.
I was like, that's such a good idea. I never thought to use corks that way. How fun. And like, you know, if I were to do that, I would be like, what can I do different, right? How can I make this more an expression of my artistry than, you know, what theirs? But yeah, so I think I like to draw, you know, from other people who've created, and in nature. You know, one thing you've really gotten me onto is with watercolor. There's this one gal who does a bunch of like tutorials, but they're very loosey goosey, which is our style. But one of the things she had said was like, every once in a while, just like pick up something from your house and paint that, because there's a difference between doing a tutorial and doing something all on your own. And so, I think that there's value in that too. Of just like looking in your house. I mean, like, I want to paint today. I'm just going to paint this because it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just an opportunity to do something. So I think creatively, those are kind of the areas I would draw inspiration from. And I guess I'll go again because like you already.
Well, no.
Just kidding.
No, I will because I had other thoughts. I mean, that's the first thing that came to my mind, and it can be very blanketed. But yeah, I will say definitely nature. I definitely, especially creativity wise, but also just observing, being out in nature and observing, and just being a part of it, and observing how nature moves, and being an inspiration of how to slow down your life, and how to, you know, nature works with each other mostly, except, you know, crazy weather, but
even that, I mean, has its purpose.
It has its purpose. So yeah, but also like, you know, little places, like you said, you know, looking around your house. I mean, every now and then it can be even something, a little design on an envelope or on a book, or I'll see something that somebody else has done. And a lot of times in that case, they're usually like little drawings. And I've learned to like, it'll just speak to me. And so I'll try to, if I can, just take a quick snapshot. And then that inspires me to stretch myself, trying to draw things. Because I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh, somebody recently, it was in a book I was reading, and she had little like doodles throughout her book, kind of illustrating the different things she was talking about. And one of them was this cat. And it was really just like a simple little doodle, like swirly. And I was like, that just inspires me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think, you know, all our environment around us, whether it be something somebody else has made, or just things we have, you know, you had flowers, and there was this one particular flower I'd never seen before. And every time I come in and I would look at that flower, I was just like, that is so cool. And I finally was like, I'm going to take a picture of that and see if I can create my own version of that flower, just playing with, you know, color. So
Yeah, I love that. I think that, also one thing that resonated with me when you bring up nature, I saw a clip that was talking about when you ask people in grief, where do they want to go? If they could go anywhere, no consequences, no expenses, no strings,
Mm-hmm.
just you could go right now
Mm-hmm.
and nothing bad would happen. Where would you go? And how the vast majority of people say, like,
Mm-hmm.
to nature,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be to a beach, to
Mm-hmm.
the mountains, to snow, to like it's retreating to nature. And I do think that, especially when, stepping away from creativity, specifically looking for inspiration just for, I don't know, man, the hope of life, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
The inspiration to that, like, it's going to be okay
Mm-hmm.
is nature. Like,
Yeah.
more than anything else, you get out there and suddenly the world's so small and
Mm-hmm.
yet so big
Mm-hmm.
that your problems just seem a little bit more achievable or
Manageable. Mm-hmm.
manageable. Yeah. So I love to when I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And that's not always easy to do because I live in town. It is a little bit more of a commitment to get to nature. Growing up, it was like you could just go take a walk on the property
Mm-hmm.
and you were immersed in
Mm-hmm.
nature. And, here we are in the middle of town. And so to do that, I have to get a little more intentional, a little
Mm-hmm.
more effort. But I still try to do it regularly because I think nature is such, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
God put it there to restore us,
Mm-hmm.
to refill us, and to inspire
Mm-hmm.
us, to keep going. Like there's so much majesty around us. We get caught up in the smog of
Mm-hmm.
life. And if we
Mm-hmm.
can just like
And the
get outside the
noise.
city and like see that, like, yeah, all
Mm-hmm.
that noise, we see that like
And I
there's
don't,
just more.
we don't realize, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Um, we don't realize, I think, um, how it's affecting us and how immersed in it we are,
Hmm.
until you do break away.
Hmm.
I know for me, I mean, that's been, I spent, a year and a half with, some time, but it was like limited time in city situations
Hmm.
and a lot of time just out in nature, unplugged,
Hmm.
and just I didn't I don't know, I appreciated it and I enjoyed it, but I didn't realize the change until I came here. And
Hmm.
no offense, I'm very grateful to be here to have a place to
And as a
land,
town, it's a small
but
town, but
it's like I feel like I want to be outside. And it's like you go outside and you feel like all your senses are just being assaulted, like big trucks coming by and trains
sirens and
and people racing by or blasting their music um and there's just I don't know. Some of it is probably a little worse this summer with the smoke. And so
mhm,
being out in the woods, I mean, would help purify it a little bit, but
a little
if it's
bit.
not on fire.
Yeah,
but yeah,
good, good
that's what I
specification.
my soul has just been craving, is that being out
Mhm,
and we went for a hike and we
mhm.
got out to where like
You couldn't hear anything.
the silence, and I'm just like, this is what I've been needing.
Mhm,
And I'm like you, like there's days I think, "Ah, I'm just gonna drive just to get away."
mhm.
And there's other days I just hide inside and just,
I
but
think that
there is
one thing I
definitely
did
something
this
about it.
this year is when we went out to those spaces and
Hmm.
places is I try to record
I wish,
10 to
yeah,
15 minutes of audio if I can. Sometimes it's only 5, because especially if I have my kids with me,
take you
it's
back
hard to get
there.
them quiet for that long.
Hmm.
But like record it and then I can make an audio loop of like, 45 minutes of just that and I name it whatever place it was. So there's
Hmm.
a little bit of that. Like I can go back to it a little bit, put
Hmm.
on some big headphones and zone out. So I do like that.
I do have, um, last summer, um, up in the forest, and just, I recorded just the water and you could hear the
Hmm.
birds and stuff. So I do have some of that.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it.
But
When family comes to visit, we're
yeah,
gonna retreat to nature a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that. Um,
yeah. God created this big, beautiful world around us. And,
yeah.
um, that's the thing I hear again and again and again from people that, nomads, people that travel all the time, is just that, the checking off those bucket list items, going to all the national parks, which, that's nature, right? But
Mhm.
it's still the busy too, and the
Yeah.
people and the crowds um but it's getting out there. Like, I don't think we realize how much world is out there. We're in this
Our
bubble,
bubble of wherever you live.
and wherever you live, and there's so much out there that's just, it's still
Mhm.
unspoiled, untouched. And you get out there, and when you get in that environment, and the noise of life
Mhm.
starts shutting down, and you start, like you were talking about, the light seeing, you notice things. You noticed, you're sitting there and you notice a deer off in the trees, or you noticed, a
Bugs
snake, or birds, the
crawling.
sounds
Yeah.
of birds, and the different sounds of birds. This one's talking one language, and this one's over here.
Mhm.
um and it's just, I don't know, it's
There's
just,
something really
it's like
powerful about it.
balm. It
Mhm.
really is.
It really is. They had which I'm curious because they put in a wind phone here in town
Mm.
nearby, and I'm like, I don't know about
I
that.
think it was this, was it a cemetery, wasn't it? Or was, yeah.
Yeah, and so the wind phone concept is from somewhere. I
Wasn't
don't
it in
know.
Japan or
Maybe
Okinawa, maybe, I
Japan.
think.
Yeah. Anyway, the concept is like it's like a spot to sit, and sometimes they have the phone, but not always. But the idea is you sit there and talk, and the wind carries it up to your loved one that's gone. And depending on your belief system, you may feel that that's not accurate, or you might think it is. But I think that the therapy of it is the
Mm-hmm.
same.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to sit there. So we came across one and on a hike, and there was actually a phone booth, and you went inside, and I actually wrote a message to my dad and left it there. And it's kind of like I talked about before, like the post I comment on, they're like, tell me about the person you've lost. And
Mm-hmm.
it's weird that it's so helpful, but I found it to be very helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
I did that, and it was just really powerful. And I'd had a really bad morning. I was just in a really angry stage of grief. And so my husband had kept hiking with the kids because I may or may not have snapped at them all. And so they kept hiking while I did this. And so I got an opportunity because then my mom went to check it out. And so I got the opportunity to continue hiking without her and without them. And it was just quiet. And it just, I don't know, it was
Mm-hmm.
such a balm. So nature is a huge place to find inspiration
Mm-hmm.
and restoration. And I think that, I try not to find, as I've gotten older, I've tried to be wiser about finding inspiration in people,
Mm-hmm.
which might sound bad, but hear me out. I used to find so much inspiration in people, and that meant putting them up on a pedestal because
Mm-hmm.
to me, to inspire me, I'm looking up at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I find inspiration from a person, I was pedestaling them, and then that's not a fun place to be,
Mm-hmm.
as a person who's been pedestaled. Um, but also it's not healthy for the one who's doing the pedestaling. And then when that person inevitably, because they're human, lets you down, now like it just shakes you in a
Mm-hmm.
really unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
And so as an older, I mean, I do find, I think those moments of admiration in different people,
Mm-hmm.
but I try to keep my inspiration to come from a place of creativity
Mm-hmm.
or the creation, because I feel like you can't get better inspiration than what
Mm-hmm.
like God did. I mean, you look outside and the sun sets, and we have amazing. I think one of the only places I've seen that has better sunsets is Hawaii, but like we just have these really beautiful, colorful sunsets. And you think like, wow, like it's the most beautiful watercolor you could ever imagine. So I think creation is always the like safest place to find inspiration, and it's just creativity can be very healing. And so I think that that
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes together perfectly. So it's not that people don't ever, do things that I admire, or I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like
Right, right.
I want to do that. Or I think that's really cool how
You just
you,
know that's a line you
but
have
that
to.
like for me, that's a line I've kind of drawn where I don't
Mm-hmm.
really say like people inspire me.
Yeah.
I might admire certain things, but it's probably just a wordplay thing that like, but that's like a line I've had to draw for my
Right,
own
right.
like mental health
You know
and
how you.
treating people appropriately because
Mm-hmm.
it's not fair to them.
Right.
My tendency to pedestal.
Right. Um,
Oh, dang it. You should have interrupted me.
No, no, no. Um, there's just too much going on up here. Um,
Wind phoned. Inspiration.
oh, and I was gonna say, inspiration from nature, from creation. And I think I'm not gonna say magic because that's not the right word, but
Ooh.
one of the things, the sweet sauce, the gel in that is, I think regardless of your belief system, you can find inspiration in nature for sure. Just the beauty of it, the solitude, all those things.
Yeah.
But as a believer, um, you can't you can't help but partake of that, and it points you back to the
Mm-hmm.
creator.
Mm-hmm.
And um, so in that sense, I mean, he's the ultimate giver.
Mm-hmm.
God is the ultimate giver of inspiration.
Yeah.
Um, he knows who we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to put out in the world, and so he's the ultimate place to get it. But I think nature is, as a believer, I think that's one of the best places you can
Mm-hmm.
get it, because like you said,
You can't see God's creativity more
people
than
are
in
infallible.
creation.
I think for me, at least at this stage in my life, I think there was probably a point. I do find inspiration in some of the things people do, but it's more just like, it just inspires me. Like, oh well, if they can do it, I could try. I could
Right.
do that, or I could try to
Nuggets.
do something, or it's just pretty, and I want to try to
Mm-hmm.
to do something. But I think most of that inspiration, I think when I say from, um, people that have already walked the path, it's
Mm-hmm.
pieces of what they've learned, which inspire me to keep
Keep
leaning
going.
in, to keep
Mm-hmm.
going, to keep, that I'm not like crazy town. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like, doomed, to
Mm-hmm.
this, whatever. So, you know, I think it's also being thoughtful of who you're
You're right. If you're
whom you're
gonna,
drawing that
yeah.
inspiration from. Because, and I, there have been times in my life of people putting them on this
Mm-hmm.
pedestal that they can do no wrong, and so anything they say is gospel truth.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm gonna live my life by it.
yeah, and then you find out, well, not so
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah.
But I think some of that comes, but I mean, it comes with age and wisdom. But I think that wisdom is kicked in for you, and just recognizing that I have to draw those lines,
Right. And like the
um,
way I view it.
the way you
Mm-hmm.
see it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
my
So let's, yeah.
45 cents worth.
Let's, between the two of us, we have 47 cents.
Nice.
Uh, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Where do you
Yeah.
draw inspiration? What inspired you the most? Um, give us some of your thoughts.
Hmm.
Give us some of your feedback. We'd love to chat with you guys, and we look forward to next week. So I hope you guys have a beautiful week, friends.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.